It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon in lower downtown Denver. We welcome everybody to Coors Field. The Rockies and Diamondbacks concluding this three-game set. Friday night was the Rockies' night. Saturday night, the Diamondbacks' night. They won last night 9-4. Big Jon Gray's on the hill. We were just discussing him. It's a battle of Okies today. Jon Gray against Archie Bradley. Rockies have been good on Sundays. They try to take 2 or 3 from the D-backs. Jean Segura, who had last night off, will be in the starting lineup again. He's had a tremendous season for Arizona, his first year down in the desert. He's batting .317. Here's the rest of the Southwest batting order for Chip Hale. Chris Owings will play short. He'll bat second. The incomparable Paul Goldschmidt next. Jake Lamb homered yesterday. He'll bat cleanup. Yasmani Tomas with 27 home runs. He'll bat fifth. Brandon Drury, Socrates Brito. Tuffy Gozwich is the backup catcher. He'll be batting eighth. And then Archie Bradley is on the hill and naturally batting ninth. Jon Gray looking for victory number 10, as Jenny told you. And the strikeout to walk ratio, very impressive, 3-1.
I think when you look at Jon Gray and the rubber series, it favors the Rockies. Arizona Diamondbacks are 39-60 this season against right-handers. In the arsenal for Jon Gray, we know he can overpower hitters with the big fastball. But the fact that he's using his curveball and changeup more effectively has really helped him out.
Well, forgive us if we sound redundant, but for Jon, it always comes down to the first couple of innings. He seems to struggle in the first couple of innings before putting his foot down. And the other thing you look for early is, how is he spinning the slider? Falls behind early against Segura, 2-0. A little more time in between pitches. And that's inside. So it's 3-0. Tony Walters is his partner in crime today. Chris Owings, 4 hits yesterday. He's moved up to the 2 spot this afternoon. And Jon, on 4 pitches, walks the leadoff man, Jean Segura. So an inauspicious beginning. Let's take a look at the defenders for the Rockies. You close in on Raimel Tapia again. Tapia getting the start in center field. Charlie's okay. Back's feeling better. Giving him another day. David Dahl and Cargo, the other 2 outfielders. Arenado Descalso at short. LeMahieu, Gerardo Parra at first again. Tony Walters, as we mentioned, is behind the plate. So an immediate base runner, and here's Chris Owings. Rockies have fallen behind early in both of these games of the series. First 2 games, I should say, of the series. 5-0. They overcame that on Friday night, as you know. But yesterday they fell behind 6-0 and were unable to overcome that. Owings, a career .350 hitter against the Rockies in 46 ball games. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Jon Gray's had a little bit of trouble with holding base runners on. Jean Segura at first base is 5th in the National League with 28 stolen bases.
Guys have stolen bases off, but Jon has a good move. He has very quick feet, which may surprise some people the first time they glance at him because he's such a big guy. 6'4", about 245 pounds. That's fouled off. Broke something.
Get it fixed in a little bit.
One of the things I always look at with starting pitchers, and it's hard to do at Coors Field. I look at this with all pitchers, relievers especially. Hits to innings pitched. Jon Gray, 138 2/3, 123 hits. Fewer hits than innings pitched. Very impressive, especially pitching here. This is in the air to shallow right. Cargo's not going to get there, but it's fouled by a bunch.
Looking at the Rockies outfield defense, people have asked me already, why is Tapia playing center field and not left field when you hear scouts talk about they think the better defensive outfielder is David Dahl. Well, my response is left field at Coors Field is one of the most difficult positions to play. Tapia has not played a corner outfield spot. That is an easier position for a guy to play is center field. You can read swings, you can read the ball flight. And so for me, David Dahl in left field is actually a nice upgrade for them right now.
Tell you what, Darren Everson, the manager at AA Hartford, did a great job because minor league's all about development, right? He did a great job with these two kids in particular, Tapia and Dahl. Tapia had 60 starts in center field at AA. Dahl had 38. They both played at least 16 games in both corner spots, Billy. That's huge, isn't it?
It's a big deal, especially if you're going to step
off.
off.
Segura just got an enormous job. He steps off, they're going to have him. And John Gray never noticed, didn't hear his infielders. Look at this. He's halfway to second base, and he's still got the baseball.
That's just timing. You're counting 1 1,000, 2 1,000 go. Sure, at one point, while Segura is running towards second base, he was thinking to himself, you better go home.
Owings hits another dying quail to right. This one is fair. Segura is not going to challenge Cargo's arm. Perfect throw. First and third after the bloop single by Owings. But it all is set up. Two factors. You walk a guy on 4 pitches to begin the ball game, and then you don't hold him.
I think Segura would be standing at third base regardless, just because of where the ball was hit. Right off the end of the bat, you can see it on the Subaru Supermo. Cargo giving chase. Not a lot he could do. Can't put it any better spot than Chris Owings had. It's 5 hits in the last 2 games for Chris Owings.
Yeah, now it's virtually impossible to come out of this inning unscathed if you're John Gray. Got Goldschmidt up there. He takes ball 1. This happens with pitchers from time to time, and pitching coaches, bullpen coaches say, okay, well, maybe if we throw a few more pitches in the bullpen, that'll simulate the first inning and that'll get him over the hump. And he's got a 6.38 first inning ERA, a 6 ERA in the second inning. And this ball's hit well toward Dahl. Will make the catch, and jogging home easily is Segura, and it's 1-0 Arizona. So all 3 ball games, Arizona takes the early lead.
Well, I know that John Gray was doing something his last start against the Dodgers to try to combat where he's not struggling in that first inning, and it worked well for him against the Dodgers. And today, you walk the leadoff hitter, that comes back to bite you, and we know that. We know that anytime you walk hitters at Coors Field to lead off an inning, it comes back to get you.
So now with 1 out, Jake Lamb steps in. And Lamb takes a strike, snap throw to Parra. Chris Owings can run as well. If you lined him up with the Diamondbacks, Owings would probably be the fastest guy. Chris Owings this year has a dozen stolen bases. Actually, let me correct that. He has 4 stolen bases, but Owings can run. Diamondbacks stole 42 bases in August. And in the National League now, they're 3rd behind Milwaukee and Cincinnati. Billy Hamilton has virtually all the bags for the Reds. You know, I was looking at the wrong category. I was like, he can't be 4 out of 5. I had it written down, and
You had it right.
I was looking at myself. What's right? Owings is 15 out of 16 stealing bases. It's early, folks. I said that. I said, I know that's not right.
It's coming out of my mouth, and I know it sounds wrong, but I can't stop saying it.
And like many times, it was wrong. Here's the 1-2. And this is in the air to center field. Moving over to make the catch is Tapia. Well, that is the second out. And that'll bring up Yasmani Tomas.
Last start for Jon Gray, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, no earned runs. The last time that has happened by a Rockies rookie was Jeff Francis back in 2005 against the Philadelphia Phillies at Coors Field. Pretty impressive line for a rookie at Coors Field.
So here's Tomas, who's driven in 66. Breaking balls off the pitch, off the plate, and it's 1-0. Tomas hitting .284 so far in the second half. Doing some number crunching on Tomas, and you compare certain numbers to last year, like batting average and on-base percentage. They're almost identical. .263 this year, last year .273. This is a ground ball to third, tough hop, and a good job by Nolan. Tomas is hitting more balls in the air, and that's why his home run total has tripled from a year ago. 1-0 Arizona. Inning of play, Raimel Tapia is going to lead it off again. Yesterday, he was inserted late in the afternoon for Charlie Blackmon into the top spot, and he responded with a 2-for-5 day in his first major league start. DJ LeMahieu bats second. He's leading the National League in hitting at .345. Cargo, Nolan, David Dahl, 3, 4, and 5. Gerardo Parra will bat sixth. Daniel Descalso, he's hit a home run in each of the last 2 ball games. Tony Walters, Jon Gray. 6 lefties in the lineup against Archie Bradley, and in the month of August, lefties hit .379 against the former schoolboy star in the state of Oklahoma.
It's pretty crazy to think that Archie Bradley and Jon Gray could have been teammates at the University of Oklahoma. The arsenal for Archie Bradley, good fastball, 92 miles an hour. That's the pitch that's been hit all around the yard in the month of August. Curveball is an excellent pitch for him. Probably should throw it a little bit more, even though you see it at 24%.
That's his pitch, his curveball. He needs his curveball to be successful. Throws that curveball quarter of the time, and the league's hitting just .209 against his breaking ball. And there's another 0-2 base hit. Same thing happened yesterday for Tapia. Goes in that deep crouch on an 0-2 pitch, and he slugged one to right yesterday. Today he hit it sharply up the middle. Boy, that kid is impressive.
You hear about his swing and his ability to put the barrel on the ball. You see the crouch, and what he creates is a very small strike zone. So it forces Archie Bradley to throw it in the zone. Limited head movement, which we love. And on the Subaru Supermo, you can see barrel to the ball, eyes on it. Nice swing by Raimel Tapia.
So that'll bring up LeMahieu. Way inside on DJ. DJ threw out 3 hits yesterday. Hacked off, I'm sure, after going 0 for 4 on Friday. That's like a monumental slump, and this gets away on the pick. Tapia is going to end up at third. There are so many ways that speed can affect a game. Infielders speed up their actions if they know a guy has plus speed on a ground ball, and this ball is just awful. I mean, Bradley spiked that ball 8 feet in front of the Gold Glove first baseman Paul Goldschmidt. He had no shot.
Now he stopped the clock on that throw. 17 earned runs in 20 starts in the first inning for Archie Bradley. Looks like he's about to have 18 earned runs in the first 21 starts. This should be automatic. Ground ball to the infield. You get the run in.
Ball and a strike. Let's glance, as we do on a daily basis now, at the September race for a batting crown in the National League. DJ is now 5 points north of Daniel Murphy beginning play today. We'll keep track of Murphy's exploits. They play the Mets later on. That's fouled off. They're the night game, the nationally televised game. One ball and 2 strikes on DJ. We always say he's in his comfort zone. In fact, since August 1st, you're gonna laugh at this one, Spill. He's hitting .418 when he has 2 strikes.
Come on.
I know, that's crazy.
That's unheard of.
Got some damage in there. He's slugging .618. DJ over 500 with his slugging percentage. Career high in extra base hits. Career high in walks. 2-2 count. Nobody out. Rockies down 1-0. Tapia is at third base. Cargo's on deck. There's Carlos.
You said .418 with 2 strikes. Is that the number?
That's the number.
League average in the National League is 175. League average in the American League, they hit a lot better, 178. 176 is Major League average with 2 strikes, and this guy, the month of August, is hitting .418.
Something else. And guess what? It'll go up.
Come on.
Lobs a base hit into right, and the Rockies are back even 1-1 for LeMahieu, his 54th RBI.
It is not that easy to hit like that.
Well, it seems to be for him.
That's not fair. It's not fair to the pitchers. See a hitter, you have him down in the count on the Subaru Supermo. Archie Bradley trying to get the fastball inside. You know what DJ can do with that. Pulls his hands in, tosses it out to right.
Let me ask you something. DJ can run a little bit from a stolen base perspective. Bradley, in his head, he just threw one in
not
the
a bad
dirt.
pitch. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. First.
What are you thinking now as a base runner after you witnessed that?
You want to say you get a bigger lead, but last thing you want is to get him making a good throw to first and get picked off.
Line shot, double play. Has that been the story of Cargo's homestand, or what?
Someone's going to pay because he's hitting the ball really, really hard. On a Cargo bobblehead day, he should not be lining out. Subaru Supermo, you can see DJ just trying to get back. Easy play. If you hit a line drive, it should be a hit.
The baseball gods owe Cargo this homestand several hits. Here's Arenado. He takes strike 1. Archie Bradley's kind of typical of a power young pitcher in that Heard all about 95 to 98, and then when they arrive, they pitch in the low 90s. He averages 92.3, which means you'll see some 95s, but
he's not sitting at 95.
Not sitting at 95. Two strikes on Arenado. Shift is on. 3 on the left side for Nolan. Nolan became the 21st Rocky recently to produce 100 ribbies and 100 runs in the same season. Last time it happened was Cargo in 2010. Vinny did it among third basemen. Jeff Cirillo did it, and Addy did it. Garrett Atkins as well. He just gave me a look. You didn't think Atkins scored 100 runs. He drove himself in a lot.
I remember one time I was sitting at 49 RBIs and Addy didn't score from second on a base hit for me. So
intentionally too.
Yeah.
Last 4 series finales, Arenado's produced a home run. Here he produces a single. So the Rockies not done in the first. That'll bring up David Dahl. Take a look at the leather behind Archie Bradley this afternoon for Arizona. Tuffy Goswitch just went out, the former Arizona State star. He's doing the catching. It's Drury, Brito, and Tomas in the outfield. Jake Lamb, Chris Owings, Gene Segura, Paul Goldschmidt in the infield. Overall, the Diamondbacks have been very good defensively, pretty sound defensively. But they've dropped off from where they were a year ago when they were 6th in baseball. They're now kind of more middle of the road. Oh, and 1 on Dahl. David last night was 1 for 4. He's hitting all but 3 ball games so far. He's got an 8-game hitting streak. Bradley won his last outing against the Reds. Pitched 6 innings, gave up 2 runs on 5 hits. Shows fastball at 94. It's typically a curveball count for Bradley. Here's his line against Cincinnati.
Went for the changeup.
Doesn't throw it all that much.
We look at differential between fastball and changeup, and you like to get it about 10 miles an hour. Archie Bradley's changeup averages about 85 miles an hour. So with the fastball at 92, it's not a big differential.
2-2, and he gets the strikeout on a fastball. In the inning, the Rockies get even. Tapia base hit, and then the 2-base throwing error by Bradley. LeMahieu delivered him.
Love to get his 10th win of the season this year. And when you're talking about rookie seasons for Rockies pitchers, that would rank up there. Take a look. Jason Jennings is at the top. Back in 2002, he won 16 games, and he was the NL Rookie of the Year. Then it's Jeff Francis. Armando Reynoso, the first year, somehow won 12 games. And you see where John Gray ranks. Here's Denny Stark, John Gray, Chacin, and Reed. And I was talking to John Gray yesterday about how the team has gone to a 6-man rotation. He just feels that he is fresher now than maybe even he was at the beginning of the season, because he said he has saved some bullets with his side sessions. And I don't know if you can elaborate on that on Spilly, but he feels better now than he did at the beginning of the year.
You always hear about guys catching their second wind. And for players at altitude, it varies. Some guys get worn out by the time it comes to June, and your second wind comes early August. But for John Gray, I think when he looked at the bullpen sessions and making sure he maybe shortened them up, oftentimes a bullpen session midweek between starts is about 40 to 45 pitches. He's getting his work in at 30 to 35, making sure each pitch has intent. That saves the bullets for you later on in the season, and that's probably something he has had to work on and has done that allows that arm to feel fresh.
He got him to chase that slider in the dirt. Walters got tired of chasing him, says, I'll just throw it to Parra. First strikeout for John Gray as he gets Brandon Drury.
Changeup. We don't get to see that pitch too often with the swing and the miss on the Subaru Supermo. That is just Drury. Whenever you see a swing like that out on the front foot, he's cheating fastball. So that's letting me know right now that John Gray's fastball is there.
Here's Brito, and he pops his bunt up, but it goes over the screen out of play. Socrates Brito in 2015 was the Arizona Minor League Player of the Year. Got an abundance of talents, got some pop, he can run, good athlete. That was a slider, and it was up high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball is launched to right, and it is a foul ball. Brito was eyeballing it, was hoping he could keep jogging, but first base umpire Tony Randazzo, veteran ump, had a real good view of it. I think it's a little easier, Spilly, to see it for an umpire fair or foul to right field, because you have, you know, all the seats, whereas in left field you're kind of looking out a little bit more at the sky, and you can see that it went on the right side of the pole. Chip Hale has gotten confirmation from Arizona's video people. No challenge. 1-2. And a ground ball to short. Descalso's first chance. 2 outs. Two outs, and that'll bring up the catcher, Tuffy Gozwich. He was one of the finalists for the Johnny Bench Award, which is given to the top collegiate catcher in his days at Arizona State. I want to give a shout out to some of our crew members who are working double duty, because we have like Mike Rotolo was working the Wyoming Northern Illinois game last night, football game up in Laramie. And I don't know if you caught this, folks. First of all, congrats to Coach Bowl and the Cowboys. Jeff Houston's behind us, pumping his fists in the air. There's Motorola. I call him Motorola on the far left. And the guy Scotty was working on the right also. The game had a 2+ hour lightning delay. Then it went to triple overtime. It ended at 2:30 in the morning up in Laramie, and then they had the tear down and everything. Those guys didn't leave Laramie till 5 in the morning. Well, crew call for an afternoon game by the time they just rolled right here to Coors Field, they didn't sleep at all. So a big tip of the cap to a number of members of our crew. This is on the ground at Descalso, and congrats to Wyoming. That's a nice win, really nice win. Northern Illinois is a good program. Triple overtime. Cowboys win it last night. 1-1 is the score as we go to the bottom of the second inning.
Do it.
'16 Toyota Tundra and your hometown Toyota stores by Coors Banquet Beer, brewed in Golden, Colorado since 1873. By Bank of America, life's better when we're connected. And by Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Sloan's Lake, busy on a Sunday, late in the summer. We can still call this summer. I mean, it is summer. I know it's September, but this counts.
You better call it summer. My wife Stacy, she's dreading fall.
Fall is beautiful here. It's too short though. It's kind of like fall winter.
Fall winter.
Fall winter. Where'd Kira go, by the way?
It's Dippin' Dot time.
Dippin' Dot time. Billy's got his daughter with him this afternoon. 1 ball, 1 strike on Gerardo Parra. Parra, Descalso, Tony Walters. Parra starting to heat up. We were talking about that yesterday. He's hit 5 of his last 6. Hit a long home run the other way yesterday. This one's on the ground. Paul Goldschmidt went out.
Oppo taco for Gerardo Parra, and the small adjustment he made, he spread out a little bit. You can see the quietness of his front foot, staying on his back leg a little bit longer. More importantly, he's allowing the ball to travel.
So here's Daniel, a home run in each of his last 2 games. That is a first for him in his career. It's inside. For Descalso, today is his 49th start. Started in a different number of different spots. First base, second, third, short, left, DH. Got a 2-0 count to work with. (3-0) now. So since Trevor Story went down, you're talking about a young man who was hitting .272, and at the time of his injury, as you may recall, Trevor's 27 home runs led the National League, 72 RBIs among the league leaders there. So how have the shortstops fared who have had to replace him. In the case of Christian Adames, Christian's come on 18 ball games, 241, 4 ribbies. For a while, he was scuffling with the bat. Descalso's hit a solid 283 with a couple of home runs and 8 RBIs. It's not going to be the same production, certainly not the same kind of slugging. That's also a strike, 3 and 2. That's why I keep saying there's Mark Reynolds. Mark participating again. You look at that lineup next year, man. Oh my goodness. You're going to have a guy that on some teams would hit, say, second, maybe even third, batting in the 6th or 7th spot.
And that's why the injuries to Trevor Story and Mark Reynolds were so disappointing, especially given the fact that the team was playing so well at the end of July. You would have liked to have seen that unit just play the season out.
Fouled off to left in foul ground. The catch is made by Drury. Did he hold on? Yep, he's got the baseball. Good job hustling down the line also for Tom Woodring, the umpire. Drury's played errorless baseball out there in left field.
From everything I heard from the Diamondbacks, Drury is a baseball rat. This was a guy that spent time with Tulowitzki several years ago working on his swing. Archie Bradley likes it.
It's Tony Walters. Tony with the swing and a miss, trying to extract himself from a little 0 for 12 slide. Outside with the fastball. Walters making his 50th start behind the plate today. The club's 25 and 24 in his starts. And even with the 0 for 12, he's hitting a terrific 340 in the second half. He's become a lot more confident. And Tony never played above Double-A.
He's grown a lot this season. He's learned a lot. You only learn in this game by listening, and he has a very good mentor in Nick Hundley.
Well, Nick's such a great leader, and Nick has picked it up. He's battled some injuries this year, and now it's kind of a three-way rotation, it looks like, the rest of the way. Tommy Murphy started last night. Hundo started. Nick Hundley on Friday had a terrific ball game, the Grand Slam. And today, Tony Walters. I'm sure tomorrow in the opener against the Giants, it'll be Hundley's turn again. 2-2. That's inside. 3-2. Home plate umpire is Corey Blazer. Corey joined the major league staff on a full-time basis in 2014. First ball game he ever did at the big league level, right here at Coors Field in 2010. It was the Marlins and Rockies. Ball's fouled off. Corey's a local product out of Pomona High School. Tony Randazzo at first. Bill Miller at second. Tom Woodrings at third. They get promoted, usually the umpires, Tom Woodring's a call-up umpire. They'll work a lot of games, vacations for the veteran umpires, and they may work 4, 5, 6 years before they become a full-time umpire. And I remember I was down in the umpire room in spring training when a call came in, and a young umpire found out. If you look at Tony Randazzo, Tony was in the room, and it was Chris Ciccione, and he found out that after a number of years he was going to become a full-time major league umpire. And I mean, you would have thought, just like players celebrate going to the postseason, that umpire's room just went bananas. And Tony Randazzo, because Tony's got a big personality.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know Tony, and he's a fun guy. And I mean, he had tears rolling down his cheeks, and he was hugging up Chris Ciccione. We've said it before. A lot of players, not players, but fans, you don't want to hate on the umpires, but man, they're a team out there. They're a very close-knit group, and it was fun to kind of witness that when Chris got his official call up. And I'll never forget that Tony was in the room, and he may have been more excited than Chris was.
They're part of the fraternity. You talk about players' fraternity of baseball in the major leagues, how regardless of what team you're on, you're in the club. And we value and we look at umpires in the same way. And for the umpires, they're going to see way more players come and go than players are going to see umpires come and go. You get that umpiring job, that's your job for life.
This is bounced up the middle, and a good play at short to steal a hit from John Gray. Chris Owings got there, and that'll end the frame. But the walk by Walters flips the lineup over in a 1-1 ball game. We're off to the third. Coors timeless moment. We flash back to October 15th, 2007, and I'll never forget it, nor will any other Rockies fans. Tulowitzki across the diamond. Eric Burns tried to dive in, and the emotions came out for Todd Helton. The Rockies complete a 4-game sweep of Arizona to win the team's first National League championship, their first pennant, and they went on to the World Series. Spill, you recall some of that, don't you, I believe?
It's been a blur.
You know what I got to pop in? Mark Crew did just a unbelievable job putting together 21 days. You were playing then. I know you participated. You were getting interviewed. This way before your TV career. This is when you were still a stud athlete.
Yeah.
Not an afterthought. It has been. It never was. But do you remember 21 Days? That show was really good. I want to pop that in the DVD coming up and reflect back.
I remember Jackson Holiday.
Jackson
had the video and would watch it every single day. Every day. Jackson at the time was 4 years old.
And it explained the intricate parts to you?
I'm telling you, you go into the car, the back of the Holiday's car, and they'd have a little DVD player. There's Jackson sitting in the back seat with 21 Days playing.
I ran into Leslie Holiday, Matt's better half, in Cooperstown last year, and got to visit with her for a while because she was there with Jackson because he was playing in Cooperstown. One of my boys was playing, Gabe, in Cooperstown. Jackson, not surprisingly, there's a strikeout of Bradley. Jackson is a little stud who's now become a big stud.
He is a big stud. And their family, you have Jackson, you have Ethan, Grayson, it's their daughter, and their fourth, Reed. They're all big holidays.
You know, it's funny. Doc Holliday's here. Doc worked as a scout for many years in the Rockies organization. He's now with Atlanta. Doc's in town. We'll try to get a shot of him down with some of the other scouts. And he was telling me about his nephews. And I said, Doc, I said, hold on. I said, of course they're terrific. I said, they got good bloodlines now.
Man, it's loading the deck.
Real good genetics. Gene Segura has a 2-0 count. He has yet to see a strike. He walked on 4 pitches in the first, stole second standing up, and then scored eventually on a sac fly by Paul Goldschmidt. Only run for Arizona. And that's a line shot to left. Second hit of the ball game for Arizona. So Segura at first with 1 out for Chris Owings. Segura with his 168th hit. That leads the National League. He's got 4 more than Daniel Murphy. He does lead the league. He'd become the 2nd Diamondback ever to lead the league in hits. Luis Gonzalez did years ago. When you think of the Diamondbacks, and if you had to put one face on the organization from a player standpoint, it's Gonzo, right? I mean, you could pick Randy Johnson, you could pick Schilling, Paul Goldschmidt now. Clearly it's Goldie now, but
you're right.
It's Gonzo, right?
It's Gonzo.
And Luis still works for the organization. Swung on and missed. 0-2. I'm in the blue pit to beat the Yankees in the World Series. 57 home runs one year for Luis. His son is freshman at TCU. Good baseball player.
Good player.
Yep.
First time I met Luis Gonzalez, I was at UC Santa Barbara out in Arizona for spring training. And I could not believe the size of Luis Gonzalez's forearms. Huge.
Enormous.
Enormous forearms. Looked like Popeye.
Hit like Popeye.
He did.
Good guy, too. 1-1 ball game. 0-2 on Owings. And a ground ball to third. See if the Rockies can twist one. Yes, they can. Oh, safe at first. Parra is walking off.
The whole team.
Everybody's running off the field. They don't realize it. First base umpire Tony Randazzo said safe. So I'm sure Brian Joe literally coming out of the dugout now is Tony Walters. Remember, Owings can fly.
Good pick by Nolan. DJ coming across the bag. Parra with the stretch.
Yeah, this one won't last long. That's why the Rockies were all in the dugout.
Parra's looking like a first baseman over there.
I think because Parra has such a loosey-goosey personality. We said it yesterday. If Gerardo's not taking ground balls at first, he's taking ground balls at short. He just has so much fun. I think that helps him play relaxed.
The team isn't even waiting for the umpires to give the sign. Everybody's rolling off the field already.
Yeah. Now you get the official sign from Bill Miller. So the Rockies turn it over 5-4-3.
Raimel Tapia will lead off. He's 4 for 7 so far. He's got that unique 2-strike stance at the plate. I asked some of his teammates just to describe him and the way he hits. We'll take a pitch first and then hear that from the guys. Here's what they say.
You look at some of the positions he sets himself up prior to the pitch even being thrown, you're like, how's he going to hit?
His speed's going to put pressure on the defense, and he puts the ball in play on the ground and he's going to have a good chance to get a hit.
He brings swagger. That's what he talks about. He doesn't fear any pitcher. He knows he's going to go up and compete and give it his best.
That's his hashtag, swagger. By the way, I asked Charlie Blackmon to describe him. He said one word, fungo. Do what you want with that. And then Ottavino said the 2-strike count, it's the crab. That's what he does.
The crab, the angry crab.
Yeah, right, Billy, the crab.
1-1, 2-1.
Well, we'll explain. Mark, let me explain what a fungo means when you're calling a player. A fungo is a long, skinny bat that coaches use to hit ground balls to the players during batting practice. So if you're a fungo, it means you're long and skinny.
That's what he is. It fits. 2-1, and that is sliced foul. Every young man that they have brought up this year, and the Rockies done such a good job developing so many of these guys, they're ready. You haven't seen a guy come up and say, okay, you know what, he's overmatched at the plate. Why, where's the talent? Why is this guy here? You haven't seen any of that.
There he goes, he's in the crouch.
He knows who he is. He has plenty of confidence. And listen, his minor league numbers, every place he's been, he has performed. You heard David Dahl talking about his buddy Tapia. They've grown up together in the minor leagues. Here's the 2-2. Foul tip, and it was held. So a strikeout for Archie Bradley. That's his second. Tapia is retired, and that'll bring up LeMahieu, who threw out a base hit to right to drive in a run and raised his batting average a little bit higher. He's now at 347.
The stretch that DJ LeMahieu has been on, last 17 games, he has 11 multi-hit games. 11. 457 batting average during that time frame.
You're about 20 seconds from saying 12. DJ's now reached in 21 straight ball games. Second longest streak by a Rocky this year to Charlie Blackmon's 32 straight. Again, Murphy and the Nationals play at Citi Field tonight against the Mets. Curveball's a strike. So it's now a separation of 7 points between LeMahieu and Murphy. And if you think back about 2 weeks ago, Murphy had about a 20-point lead on everybody else in the league.
DJ was hitting 330 3 weeks ago.
Slowly hit to third. Jake Lamb throws out LeMahieu. Two-gun Cargo coming up, folks, when the Rockies score 7 runs or more in any ball game. Make your way to your participating Colorado Taco Bell location the next day. Do it between 4 and 6 to receive your Rockies Taco Special. With Ryan Spilborghs and Mark Stout, I'm Drew Goodman. Cargo lined into a double play his last time up. Hit a bullet right at Gene Segura, who doubled off DJ LeMahieu. DJ didn't have a chance. Shift is on. Cargo's one of those statistical funks, but if you watch the at-bats have been good.
Great at-bats. He's hitting the ball hard. He's not getting much love. Players love end of August and September for so many reasons. Number one, it's the playoff stretch. This is the push. The second thing we love is the weather. And the third thing we love is football. And you can see guys in the clubhouse yesterday watching all the different college football games. You have fantasy drafts coming up. But you want to talk about camaraderie and players having to buy dinner for each other. Usually happens on Saturdays. And I asked DJ's team, the LSU Tigers, they lost yesterday, heartbreaker, to Wisconsin.
They lost to his other team.
Yeah, they lost to Wisconsin. His dad's a big Wisconsin fan. Well, Nolan on deck is a huge USC Trojan fan. And I said, what was worse, losing the way LSU did or the way USC did? He goes, oh, yeah, LSU's loss was way worse to me than getting drubbed by Alabama.
Low-scoring affair. Late field goal for Wisconsin. Beat the Tigers at Lambeau Field. 1-2. Alabama put it on Southern Cal.
Yikes. The best part during this whole football thing is for the Latin American players trying to get them to buy into it. So far, I've never had a teammate that was from Latin America that bought into it.
Off the end of the bat to center field. Socrates Brito has it, and it's a 1-2-3 third inning for Archie Bradley. We're tied at 1 as we go to the 4th. Love, it's what makes a Subaru by CenturyLink, your link to what's next, and by Tavern Downtown. Visit Tavern Downtown after Rockies home games and get 2-for-1 draft beers with your same-day ticket. Rockies in Arizona tied at 1. It's Jon Gray and Archie Bradley. Two guys who grew up 75 miles from one another. And the first pitch to Paul Goldschmidt is fouled off. Goldschmidt a sac fly on a line drive to left to drive in the only run for Arizona. And an easy play for LeMahieu, 1 out. Archie Bradley's from right near Fraiche, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, which is a suburb of Tulsa. And Jon Gray grew up in Chandler, Oklahoma, which, as I said, is about a little more than an hour's drive. Bradley's 23, Gray is 24. And Bradley was going to follow Jon Gray to the University of Oklahoma. And it wasn't just to play baseball, it was to be a quarterback for the Sooners also. He was an outstanding quarterback prospect. But when you're drafted 7th overall, it's hard to turn down that kind of money. Nolan will make the grab. Did a good job shading his eyes. Jake Lamb's retired. 2 quick outs.
As Yasmani Tomas comes to the play, I want to point out a former teammate of mine back in Winter League Baseball, Ariel Prieto, and he was one of the first Cuban pitchers to play in the major leagues. And What's interesting is that Prieto has worked with several different Cuban players. Started with Jonas Cespedes when he was with Oakland, and now he's with Yasmani Tomas. And it's nice for these Cuban players like Tomas to have a guy like Prieto.
Cargo lays out, makes the grab. 4-pitch inning. What a beautiful catch by Carlos Gonzalez. In English or Spanish, that is a terrific play. Rockies 1, Arizona 1. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborghs, Mark Stout, and our Root Sports crew on a Sunday afternoon, bottom of the 4th inning. The cleanup hitter, Nolan Arenado, against Archie Bradley. Nolan had a base hit his first time up to left, takes inside, and it was a ball, no swing, as they check it out with Tony Randazzo. This ball's well hit left center field. Long run. Drury can't get there. A tweener. And Nolan is looking for 3. Throw to third. Not going to get him. Triple for Arenado. Fifth of the year.
Started out of the box. Nolan could smell it. The route Brandon Drury had in left field. Little steep angle, is not going to be able to get to that pitch. Hanging curveball, and Nolan does not miss it. Gets in on him just a hair, but when you have a good swing and you're driving through the zone, you drive out to left center field, and Nolan, as soon as he hit it, he's thinking at least 2. As soon as he sees it drop, there he goes, thinking 3, and that's so important, getting on third base with nobody out, leading off the inning.
And explain that for our viewers. That is all on the base runner. That's not on the third base coach, Stu Cole. That decision, because the ball's in front.
You see the baseball. You see where the fielders are going as you're rounding first base. And about halfway from first base to second, that's typically when the base runner makes up the mind whether he's going to third base or not.
You got to make sure you're going to get there. You do not want to make first or third out at third base. Here's David Dahl, infield back. Dahl's not picked up the fastball. He's pretty obvious.
He's halfway. That's where he decides, I'm getting to third.
Stu Cole coaching him up. 2 strikes on Dahl. Get it in play, you're going to get a ribby. Dahl strikes out again on a high fastball. He struck out twice against Archie Bradley, and against the fastball he's been tardy. That's why we're thinking he's not picking up the baseball. So now Gerardo Parra in the same situation. Gene Segura is kind of wandering in. I don't know if they've changed their thought process here. Sometimes with 1 out, you'll come in if you get the first guy out, and they're going to come in halfway. And I understand this thinking because Nolan is not the fastest guy in baseball.
Fast enough to be standing at third.
Ground ball foul. And here with 1 out, you almost certainly will see him go on contact, right?
You have to. That's the play, even with the infield drawn halfway. The idea is you're going to put pressure on the defense to catch the ball, set their feet, make a strong throw to home.
And now Parra's behind 0-2. Parra's hit .395 against his former club this year. This is where it's easy to say, it's hard down there, you know that, but you got to find a way, shorten up, go into the top of your crouch, whatever it is, you got to get it in play.
And Archie Bradley's been very good this season, even though he's given up runs, at preventing hitters to hit well with runners in scoring position. Came into today's game with a .218 batting average against some runners in scoring position. That's pretty good.
It's outstanding. The only guys better than him in the league, Bumgarner, Lester, Arrieta, Adam Conley with Miami. That's a big group to be with.
And that's where the 92-mile-an-hour fastball bumps up. That's where you take it to that extra gear. You start seeing the 95s.
Parra's a free swinger. We all know that. He doesn't walk. But he doesn't strike out at an alarmingly high rate either. .02. And there he goes this time. And Archie Bradley on a curveball strikes out Parra. So now 2 strikeouts. He has a chance to get out of it unless the Rockies can come up with a 2-out hit. Daniel Descalso coming up.
Coca-Cola value packs are still the best deal in town, available every value game, including this Tuesday and Wednesday versus the Giants.
Descalso fouled out down the left field line. Nice running catch by Brandon Drury as he almost ended up in the stands. Two 2-0 on Descalso. Runner on third, nobody out. You score 84% of the time. Runner on third, 2 men out. It drops down to a little more than 25% of the time. Three 3-0. Gozwich, I'm sure he blocked that curveball.
Rockies as a whole have a hit .237 with runners in scoring position in 2 out.
It's in there, 3-1.
I would assume Descalso was given the 3-0 green light, and that pitch was just off the corner.
Tied at 1 in the 4th. Arenado at 3rd. Ball 4. So Bradley careful with Descalso, who's swung the bat well here in this series. And now Tony Walters, who walked his first time, will come up. Tony 0 for his last 12. It'd be a great time to break out of that.
One of the hardest things for any sort of bench player is feeling comfortable at the plate. Making sure that you're not taking extra at bats to try to find out where your stance is and where your hands are, try to get the timing.
Line drive center field, base hit Tony Walters. How large was that? There are 2-out hits, and then there are 2-out hits. And after Arenado tripled, and he's still standing there 2 outs later, you thought, oh man, this is going to be a blown opportunity, and Tony Walters took care of business.
Sigh of relief for his teammates too, and David Dahl and Gerardo Parra. Tony Walters jumping on the first pitch he saw, and after a great at bat, his first at bat, I mean that walk. There's that comfort level we talk about, making sure you're in the box as a bench player and feeling like you can go into the box and give a quality at bat.
Jon Gray's got 4 ribbies this year. Rockies, one of the premier teams this year, producing 2-out hits, battling Arizona. Everybody's trailing the Red Sox. Red Sox get a lot of no-out hits, 1-out hits also. Get a lot of hits, period. Heater for a strike, 1-1. Rockies up 2-1 on the base hit by Walters. Archie Bradley led Broken Arrow High School to a state championship. They went 36-2 to win that state title. That's a whole lot of games in high school.
They went 36-2.
36-2. And Oklahoma high school baseball, not dissimilar to where you grew up in Southern California. I mean, there's a lot of good players that come out of Oklahoma. In fact, Mark Stadt will tell you more about how good Oklahoma baseball's been through the years when we come back next inning. That's outside, 3-1 on Greg.
One of the greatest players in the history of the game, the Oklahoma kid, Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle. How about Johnny Bench? He was pretty good. 3-1. Gray taking the whole way, 3-2. Runners going and swung on and missed, but the Rockies do take the lead. Nolan Arenado tripled leading off the inning. Tony Walters with 2 outs delivered him with a base hit. 2-1 Colorado as we go to the 5th.
about Oklahoma. Of course, he was born in Chandler. That's where he hails from. Let's show you the Rockies players with Boomer Sooner in the background that were born in the state of Oklahoma. Only 7 of them. You'll know some of the names. Matt Holliday is on that list. Corey Sullivan. Spilly, I didn't know that Corey was born in Tulsa. Gray is on that list. Butch Husky is there. Jeff Salazar. Jackson Williams is on the list. And Jamie Wright, who, of course, we know played forever in the big leagues. But there are your Oklahomans.
Hey, Mark, the big handsome.
He is the big handsome from Oklahoma. Jamie Wright, a great guy.
I love the Boomer Sooner music. Now, Mark, you'll either...
They're heartbroken right now.
You probably, I'm just saying, because you're a big music guy.
Yeah.
And you probably are going to want to remove your earpiece here coming up, because we're going to show you some other Sooners that were prominent in baseball. And together now with me, Spilly. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain, and the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain.
I don't know that
You
song.
don't know that?
No.
It's from Oklahoma, dude. Mickey Mantle, bench. Willie Stargell, the Wayner brothers, Joe Carter, World Series hero. Allie Reynolds. Dad was a big fan of Allie Reynolds growing up. Matt Kemp's from Oklahoma. I was watching Matt earlier today taking AB for the Atlanta Braves. Good second baseman for the Pirates back a few years ago, Johnny Ray. This has popped up on the infield. DJ has it, 1 out as Drury's retired. 5 straight retired now for John Gray. Joe, I was talking to your sister-in-law's here, right?
Yep.
I know you're aware of that. And you went out to get a drink just now. And I said, I need you back because you have to sing with me. And your sister-in-law said, you do not want Ryan singing. The kids, and I'm looking at Kira, Daddy can't sing, can he? No, she said, no. In fact, it was
not
just
even close.
And I said, wait a second. I said, I guarantee you Spilly can sing better than me. I'm the absolute worst. And said, no, Spilly's worse. So we can have a sing-off one night and see who's worse, me or you.
I'm all for terrible karaoke. I will meet you anywhere, anytime for karaoke, but I will not sing on air for all our wonderful Root Sports viewers.
I just did, and I can't sing.
I don't know if they appreciate it as much as you think they did.
No, I don't think they appreciated it at all. That's why I kind of shut it down after a line or two. I used to sing that song, though, seriously, because I can't sing. And there's only a couple that I think I can sort of get close to. So I would sing at bedtime a lot of times to my kids, Oklahoma.
I think everybody thinks you sound like a certain singer.
Socrates Brito lines this to deep right. Carr goes there. Chest high catch, 2 gone. No, I acknowledge and I'm fully aware of the long list of shortcomings I have, and one of them is singing. 2 gone. Tuffy goes which.
Every time I go to a karaoke bar, people pick out the songs that they feel like they sing like. I thought for a second I could sing like Billy Idol. I can't sing like Billy Idol, but people think that.
White wedding. Come on.
I'm more of a rebel yell. I think in high school I thought I was Bono, which I'm not. For a second, there's a Marcus Mumford and Sons. I listen to them all the time. I thought I sound like him.
You can play the guitar though a little bit, right?
I was in our school's jazz band. I was a jazz guitarist.
We have a lot of musicians on our crew, and all we can do is just listen. Well, you can play. I just have to chill and listen. 1 ball, 1 strike. And a slow roller to second. John Gray, typical of John Gray outings after a rough first, has gotten locked in. That was a 9-pitch inning. 2-1 Rockies, middle of 5. To you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning with Ryan Spilborghs, Mark Stout. I'm Drew Goodman. This game stands in contrast, at least so far, to what we've witnessed in the first 2 games of the series. Low scoring. Rockies up 2-1. They fell 9-4 yesterday, and they won 14-7 on Friday night. 3rd time through the lineup for the Rockies against Archie Bradley. Raimel Tapia to lead off. DJ LeMahieu, Carlos Gonzalez to follow. Tapia's 1 for 2. Singled and scored in the first. Bradley has struck out 5, and he's allowed 5 hits. It's in there for a strike. Jake Lamb came charging after Tapia showed bunt. And Tapia, that wasn't for show. Tapia will bunt. It is a big part of his game. Out front. 0-2. One and 2.
There's a time where I made an adjustment hitting with 2 strikes where I changed my swing ever so slightly, choking up, spreading out a little bit more. And after a bit of time, this was in high A, G. Hill was the hitting instructor at the time. He said, why don't you just hit like that from the start? Fine, you're right. I did.
Worked out for you. Yeah, baby. The Rockies can expand the lead here. 1-2 on Tapia as he wastes a couple of pitches. And that's foul. Wow. Close.
Tom Woodring, the 3rd base umpire, looking to see if the ball goes over the bag. It can go over the bag in fair territory before 3rd base and land in foul territory for a hit. That one went foul just before it got to the bag.
And there's a base hit through the left side. Two for 3 for Raimel Tapia. In his first start last night, he had a couple hits. Speed aboard as the Rockies try to build on a 2-1 lead here in the 5th.
You're curious what he looks like side by side early in the bat versus 2 strikes. The one on the left is no strikes. The one on the right is with 2 strikes. Not a big difference, but enough that Tapia feels like he's in a little bit shorter of a squat. Little Rod Carew / Ichiro in him, doesn't he?
You know what? It's just effective. And it's been effective, as we've told you, everywhere he's been. Think about this. When he played in Grand Junction in 2013, he had a 29-game hitting streak. That was a club record. It's 3 games shy of Chris Valaika, the Valaika baseball playing brothers. His Pioneer League record set Billings in 06. He led the Pioneer League in hitting at 357. In 2014, he was 3rd in the Sally League in hitting. In 2015, in the Cal League with Modesto, he led the league in hits, was among the league leaders in stolen bases with 26. He finished at 305 that year, batting average wise. side on LeMahieu 1-0. Last year, Tapia played in the Futures game for the World team. He's a baseball player, and a good one. So many of these young guys, they have brought some energy to this Rockies team. David Dahl, Trevor Story, Carlos Estevez. There he goes, and no throw from Gozwich, popped out of his hand. He wasn't going to get him.
Not even close.
Tapia got a huge jump, and that's his first big league steal.
So far, everything he has done on the baseball field, he looks like he's a major leaguer. High leg kick from Archie Bradley. Tapia, a good first step. See him accelerate quickly.
And catchers have a sense. They can see peripherally what kind of jump it is. And Gozwich, you had to reach inside. You see everything gets speeded up because you realize unless you're absolutely perfect, you got no shot. And that's why I think the transition from glove to hand went awry for Gozwich. Now DJ will try to work his magic the other way. And this will get the job done. They say on the golf tour, the British especially, useful player, that DJ LeMahieu.
Has everything you want in your bag. He's got the flop shot, drive it, cut it, hook it. Now it's Cargo bobblehead time. Time to drive in to run. The Rockies today, they've led off the inning with leadoff hitter 3 out of 5 innings. 2 of them have scored already.
Cargo sitting on 84 RBIs. The infield's in. 1 out. Cargo, though he's hit it hard a bunch of late, just 5 for his last 43. Line out and fly ball to center field so far today. And another line out.
Baseball's supposed to be fun.
It's cruel right now.
For Cargo, he is not having fun. Another ball hit hard. You see the reaction.
It's not a video game. You don't have a joystick to direct where you hit it. You try to put the fat part of the bat on the ball. Cargo's been doing that, but he keeps hitting it at guys. And now you have 2 outs. Nolan at the plate. Mike Butcher wants to converse a little bit with young Archie Bradley on how to proceed. Behind him in the order, talking about behind Nolan, is David Dahl. Now, David's had a great start to his career, but for whatever reason, it's been pretty clear today he's not picking up Archie Bradley. He has struck out twice and hasn't really looked good in the process.
You're gonna try to pick your poison. I think the play is not to give anything good to hit to Nolan. I love the term that Drew uses for Nolan. He is an RBI hog.
Here's Nolan with 2 outs, trying to deliver Tapia. Tripled his last time up.
Hanging curveball to Nolan. Nolan drives it right out of the box, thinking 3. He's able to get to third base. Later scored on a Tony Walters single.
Average with runners in scoring position at 2 outs. 2 of the best in the game, Goldschmidt and Arenado. One. Nolan with a hard shot, but into the shift. Segura's got it. And the Rockies do not produce a run despite the inning for Raimel Tapia. 2-1 it remains. Recap. Rockies up 2-1. Both Archie Bradley and John Gray have pitched well. For the Rockies, DJ's thrown out a hit and an RBI. Nolan has a couple hits, including a triple. Tony Walters a big clutch 2-run single to give the Rockies the 2-1 lead an inning ago. So we go to the top of the 6th inning. John Gray has retired 7 straight. Archie Bradley is due up, and he is going to hit for himself. Despite the 1-run deficit going to the 6th inning. Bradley, Segura, and Owings. You know, Spilly, this is the 3rd time Bradley's pitched at Coors Field. And in all 3 outings, especially the last 2, he's pitched well. First one, he gave up 4 runs. But he wasn't bad in that outing. But the last 2 have been very good.
And I remember that outing where he gave up the 4 runs. It came early. It was the 1st inning, if I remember correctly, and he settled down. The thing I remember hearing about Archie Bradley, and same with Braden Shipley that we saw last night, big-time competitors. And sometimes pitching at Coors Field, it's a mindset. You have to have some confidence. You have to be willing to take your lumps, but continue to grind it out.
Look at that pickup by Nolan. I want to see at some point in Nolan's career against, you know, a really slow runner, maybe somebody who falls to the batters, to just run over there. I mean, he's running halfway there anyhow. Watch Nolan. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps before he threw it.
I'd like to see Nolan go toe-to-toe with any hockey goalie. The ability for him to pick a ball off the ground is incredible. That's not an easy pick.
Gene Segura fouls that back. No, it's like the one the other day, Spilly, that he got an error on, where he had to take a drop step. It was a top spin hop. That is such a difficult play because the ball's accelerating and you're not sure where it's going to hop. John can finish Segura. Here's the 0-2 slider. Probably got a little more of the plate than he would like on an 0-2 pitch. Just 2 hits allowed by Gray. This is a club in Arizona that has produced at least 10 hits in 10 straight games at Coors Field. And over that time, hitting close to 350. Gray has calmed the bats. He can do that. You know, it's also something we don't mention much anymore because it's long in the past. Kid went 13 starts before he got a victory. Remember that? To begin his career?
That's right.
One, two. This ball's well hit right center field. Tapia can't get there. And Segura is going to have a double. Boy's a good hitter.
Individual game day suites and party facilities are still available. You can have crazy karaoke parties and I might show up. There's something there for everyone and every budget.
Then you got to bear down. You have the tying run at second. That snapped a string of 8 straight retired by Gray. You have Owings coming up. Owings is 5 for his last 6 at the plate. Behind him, you have Paul Goldschmidt.
They didn't do it right. You have to.
He's got to step off the bat. Yeah. Is he saying now he lost the opportunity to do it?
No. He's waiting for him to say he's in play. Now you step off. He says he's safe.
Did you ever miss a bag and were hoping that they didn't appeal? You know, Walt's taking a look at this.
So we'll take a look as well. Jean Segura's right foot.
Yeah, you can't challenge that. I mean, he missed the bag, but he may have scraped it. There's no way you're going to be able to determine whether or not the side of his spikes got the bag. But it was certainly worth appealing. Owings. Crowd reacting because the guy got 2 hands on the baseball, dropped it, and then when he went to run and pick it up, another fan got it. Honey, that's why you're watching and they're playing.
Oh, sweetheart, can they just give him something instead?
Yeah, he'll give you a pat on the back.
Get a bobblehead. Let's make fun of this guy for 1 second. Off his hands, bounces off the second deck.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I thought another fan grabbed it. He went to a different deck.
The wife had to cover her face. You couldn't believe it.
One and one on Owings.
Owings trying to drag bunt.
Interesting.
Nolan's playing pretty deep at third base, trying to cover the left side of the infield for a base hit. Probably wasn't expecting a drag bunt. I wasn't.
Chris Owings, Charleston, South Carolina, signed with the University of South Carolina out of high school, but he was drafted by the Diamondbacks, supplemental first-round pick, signed for just under $1 million. Good block by Tony. Smothered the baseball, kept it around. No advancement at second from Segura. 1 out. Segura the tying run at second. Top of the 6th inning. Low pitch count for Jon Gray. Really low pitch count for where he is in the game. He had a 4-pitch inning. He had a 9-pitch inning. That's why the overall number is so low. Goldschmidt looms next. Just 53 pitches through 5. And that's a line drive caught. Chance for 2. Safe. Descalso trying to get to the bag in front of Segura. Got a great feed from LeMahieu.
That swinging the ball naturally will take Descalso towards second base, so he gets a head start, where Segura is thinking maybe that's a base hit. Segura doing everything he can, diving back to try to beat Descalso.
They're going to look at this.
It's a foot race. Yeah, get him, Descalso.
He got him.
I think he got him.
He did get him.
Supermo shows it.
That last angle I thought was pretty definitive. Watch this.
Yep.
Hand still in the air. A little space before it touches the bag, it looks like. Daniel Spikes clearly on the bag. Well, you know how big that would be? You get off the field without Goldschmidt hitting. Now you have first base open, you can pass on him, but then you got to go face the lefty and Lamb.
It would work very well for the Rockies. I love this part about with the coach's challenge, the ability to watch the game on the big screen, because the two players are talking about it. Hey, what do you think? I think Descalso's in there. Dad strength and foot speed.
Now, Brian Jones was all over it in the Rockies video room, and we wanted to give a shout out because I think Brian must have felt left out.
Oh, we're talking about Oklahoma?
Yeah, Brian grew up with Matt Holliday and played in high school at Stillwater High School. And he was honorable mention all conference. We were listing all the great, where is the out call? Listed all the great Oklahoma players in the past, and we left out Jonesy. We apologize. But
nice hitting for Brian Jones. Honorable mention from Stillwater High School.
2-1. Rockies hold on to their one-run lead. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Rockies rookie batting average with a minimum of 150 plate appearances. David Dahl is #1 right now, 329. Ben Pedrick in 2000 is 322. Hilton 315. Juan Pierre 310. And our good friend Jordan Pacheco 309. Here's the 1-0, and that swung on and missed. 1-1. See if Dahl can figure out Archie Bradley. He has struck out twice against Bradley, and I don't know if he's gotten a piece of his fastball. And it's not going to get easier, it's going to get harder because The hitter's going to be in shadows here in a few minutes. We move to the latter part of the afternoon. Rockies leading 2-1. They have 6 hits. The Diamondbacks have just 3. Ground ball to second. 1 out, and that'll bring up Gerardo Parra. Parra's 0 for 2, a ground out and a strikeout. Fouled off. What do you got there? I like that.
Tomorrow's Purple Monday. Download MLB.com, the ballpark app, and become eligible to win an autograph item. Plus, the first 5,000 fans will receive a Purple Monday fall scarf, which is sick. Cannot wait to show you this thing. Look at it. Go Rocks.
You know what?
Keeps you warm. Do you know how? I don't know how to wear like.
Here, hold that side. You pull that way. You pull that way, and I'll pull this
my
way.
head falls off. This thing's sweet. You rock it to a soccer game. You can.
Go like that here. Now you look Parisian. That's really cool
This
item.
thing
I
is
like
sweet.
that.
Yeah. So tomorrow, fall scarf. You have to be one of the first 5,000 to get here.
Oh, you know what? Sully, who's Mr. Italian Vogue magazine.
He did live in New York.
Parra strikes out. 2 gone. Why don't we have Corey model it?
All right, come on. Sunday fun day. Fun up at the booth today.
2 gone. Descalso will come up. 6 strikeouts for Archie Bradley. Descalso fouled out down the left field line and walked. Walked in front of Tony Walters, producing a 2-out hit in the 4th. It gave the Rockies the 2-1 lead.
How do you wear a scarf? You lived in New York.
I did. And that's really where I learned. You got to tie it under and over, almost like you're tying a tie. You get a little pull. You can pull it up, warm your neck.
So that's not really
You can go with
warmth.
the double.
That's all style, right?
Yeah, it's all style.
What's the
It's all
double? Let me see
preference.
the double.
This was not long enough, unfortunately. Need a little longer.
Yeah. What are you going to? You have any other fashionable items you're going to present to us?
Maybe a few.
A few.
I got some tricks up my sleeve.
2-1 Rockies. Alexis look back. Well-pitched game between the two Okies. John Gray so far, 6 innings, a run on 3 hits. Not a lot of strikeouts today for John Gray, but he's been effective. DJ LeMahieu doing his thing, single, scored Tapia. That was the Rockies' first run, and then Tony Walters' big clutch 2-out hit to deliver Nolan Arenado. Nolan had tripled leading off the inning, and for a while it looked like he was going to get stranded there. And then Tony snapped an 0 for 12 with that knock. 2-1, the Rockies leading. We go to the top of the 7th inning, and it's the sticky part of the order for Arizona. Goldschmidt, Jake Lamb, Yasmani Tomas. Goldschmidt a sac fly in the first, also ground ball to second, up the middle. DJ pops up, out at first. Corey Sullivan hanging with us as well. Corey, that's pretty good stuff.
That is. He goes so well to his right, but he also gets to his feet really fast. When you take a look at him going up the middle, he's always got his eyes on the ball. More importantly, he's set to make the throw to first base. That's the most important thing when you're an infielder, getting those shoulders and feet set.
Watching it right off the bat, I didn't think he had a chance at Goldschmidt. Even Gray was like, that was a base hit.
Look at that hair flip. Did you see that? That was
Beautiful.
good.
It's beautiful.
It's like he had a fan on him.
Would he wear the scarf the same way because he has longer locks?
Well, he probably goes with a man bun, so he's got to do something a little different.
I see.
Can you wear a scarf with a deep V t-shirt?
That's a bad look if you do. I'm sure some people have chosen that. That's something you would do. That's about right.
Philly would do that, wouldn't he?
Philly would.
I was just hoping you guys were going to go like, yeah, no, that's totally cool. I was like, cool.
Why do I know we're going to see that now? That's such a bad visual. I know at some point in the next week we're going to see that.
He's wearing it on the plane now. You going on the plane?
What's considered too big of a deep V?
Yeah, what is too deep a V?
2-0 right now on Lamb. Fly ball to center and a pop to third. Shift is on.
My take is that it can never be too deep for a V-neck shirt.
Only you.
Good pitch, 2-0, 2-1. Patrick Corbin, former starter, is now warming in the bullpen for Arizona. And this ball's lined to right center field. See if Cargo can cut it off and prevent a double, and he will. That's a subtle little thing. You guys both were outstanding outfielders, especially playing in cavernous Coors Field. The respect they have for his arm.
It's not only that. They give Cargo, he's lined out twice hard today. And it's easy for guys to take it off in the outfield regardless. You feel bad for yourself at the plate. And for Cargo to give that good effort, making sure he takes a good angle, pretty much prevented Jake Lamb from standing on second base.
Here's Tomas. Cargo robbed him of a hit earlier in the ball game with a diving catch. That was back in the 4th. This guy's got 27 ribbies, 28 career games against the Rockies. Oh, 1, that misses. Here's that catch by Cargo to end the 4th inning.
Reminds me of Corey Sullivan, one of the best at leaving his feet. What was one of the?
Give me some more. Tell me more.
No, I'm serious. You're always good at leaving your feet. Tomas didn't like it. John Gray's had some good defense played behind him today. And part of the reason why, he's efficient with his pitches and he works quick.
This is up the middle, a base hit, and Lamb will stop at second. And Corey, good job by Tapia getting to the baseball in a hurry.
Yeah, we always call that quick, slow, quick. When you've got guys that are on first base and they get a chance to go first to third, especially with 1 out, you always want to keep the double play in order. You got to get to the ball quick, break it down, slow down, and then get rid of the ball quick, get it back into the infield. They did a great job right there.
We have an injury at first. Tomas is in a crouch next to Dave McKay. Chip Hale and the training staff's going to go out.
Mario Prieto is out there with him too. He's the translator that is from Cuba, former player. walking. They're going to stay out there.
Looks like he hurt himself just leaving the box.
I wonder if it's a hip or a knee, something that gets a little bit of torque coming out of the box.
That didn't look good. He's coming out. Got some options. You could bring Pollock in.
Yeah, you'd probably bring Pollock into the game unless you want to save him for a pinch hit at bat.
Bring Goslin, who's versatile.
Or Ricky Weeks.
A couple of bats, as you said, with Pollock and Weeks, you may want to hold back.
Well, Goslin is the most used pinch hitter on the Diamondbacks team. Might go with Jensen.
Go with the big boy, huh?
The runner-up MVP at AAA this year with Reno.
Surprising. I think you'd want a guy who can run a little bit right there. You know, that's a potential winning run, first base, scoring on a double. Somebody in the game with some wheels.
I agree with you, but your wheels are going to take away some of your better pinch hitters.
And for being early September, because Reno is in it in the PCL, they have only 5 position players on their bench. This time of year, usually thinking you got 7, 8, 9 guys to choose from. And most teams will bring up that one speed guy, the rabbit, just to pinch run. That's a strike on the inside corner on Drury. So John Gray, in a 1-run affair, he's pitched a beautiful game for the first time since the first inning. He's in a sticky situation. Line drive, base hit. Cargo coming quickly around third. Lamb's coming home. Throw to the plate. Be cut off. 2-2.
Every ball this inning has been hit hard, even with Goldschmidt. Nice play by DJ LeMahieu up the middle. Drury just taking a fastball away and shooting it into right field. John Gray, 19 out of 24 first pitch strikes. So the Diamondbacks were ready third time through the lineup to attack him early. How much he could do, huh, Corey, in right field on this play?
No, I actually love that angle because typically what I always judged was if the runner had hit third base and you're just getting to the baseball, you basically have no chance. And you watch right there, Lamb had basically rounded third base, so you know you can put it in your pocket. Obviously, Cargo's got a cannon out there and can take a shot, but he keeps it low enough to keep the guys from advancing from second to third right there.
And also, fellas, the angle, I mean, Cargo had to move to his right pretty dramatically, so you can't really run through the baseball.
You can't. It usually creates a little bit of tail. For this time, it actually created a little bit of pull, and he threw it up the third baseline.
We saw Carlos Estevez getting loose. 3 straight hits, and now this ball's well hit to right. It's going to get on out. Just like that, it's now a 5-2 deficit. Socrates Brito leaned on that pitch, and all the good work today for John Gray has disappeared in the 7th. Single, 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 bomb.
Brito hit a bomb earlier today that was foul before grounding out to Descalso, and this one he does not miss. You can see why the Diamondbacks are so high on him. Last year's Player of the Year in AAA for the Diamondbacks, and that escalated quickly. Another first pitch fastball that the Diamondbacks jumped on.
There's the hacked off fastball at 97, 0-1 on Tuffy Goswish.
Cargo's giving a deke like he's going to catch the baseball, hoping that maybe the runners would just run past each other and stealing out that way.
He didn't deke anybody because that went 452 feet. That was the deke out of frustration.
That's right.
Yeah, but I think one of the important things too is we talk about the growth of Jon Gray all the time and how he's had to adapt from just using a slider as an out pitch when he's got 2 strikes. He's also got to learn not to attack just with a fastball. You said it's really 19 and 24 first pitch strikes. Guys in the big leagues are going to go up and hunt the fastball in that situation. He's got to learn to be able to throw those secondary pitches for strikes early in the count.
What a turn of events here in the 7th. Remember, Goldschmidt led off and DJ made the terrific play. 1 out, nobody on. And then Lamb a hit, Tomasa hit, Drury a single, and then the 3-run home run from Brito. And it's now a 5-2 deficit. And also Arizona with the 4 straight hits. With 7 in the game, the Rockies just 6. Ricky Weeks is in the on-deck circle. He's going to hit for Archie Bradley. Well, it'll be up to the offense against that Arizona bullpen, which has been porous this year, and that's being kind.
Worse than the National League by a large margin.
If you think the Rockies have had issues down in the bullpen, don't talk to Arizona about theirs. They don't want to hear it. This is up the elevator shaft. Tony Walters. Two gone. So Weeks has been called back. He will not hit. I think they're going to go with Goslin.
Your attention. Pitching for the Diamondbacks in place of the pitcher Bradley, number 15, Phil Goslin.
Goslin leads the National League in pinch hits in 61 plate appearances. That's a lot of pinch hit at bats.
That is. That's tough to find a rhythm.
Goslin swings and misses. He's got 3 more pinch hits than anybody else in the league. Christian Adames on that list. Goslin got a start yesterday. 1 for 4 and a walk.
You have to have a pretty quiet swing. Not a lot of moving parts for the ability to be a successful pinch hitter. You need to be a fastball hitter too.
Yeah, the zeitgeist, the spirit of the times is kind of more contact hitters than that now.
He went on the slider, so 3 pitches he's got. Damage in the inning, significant damage. 4 runs, 3-run home run from Socrates Brito. And the Rockies now trail 5-2, middle of 7. We stick around for a rendition this Sunday of God Bless America.
Fans, the Colorado Rockies are proud to host and honor those who sacrifice on behalf of us all. With us on the field today are Silver Star recipient Joe Anello and his wife Joan, Medal of Honor recipient Hiroshi Miyamura, and Leslie Sakato, daughter of Medal of Honor recipient George Sakato. These gentlemen's extraordinary heroism and devotion to duty are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service. Fans, please give them a hero's welcome as well as to all our nation's brave servicemen and women and their families. We thank you for your service and sacrifice. Fans, please rise as we honor our great country with the performance of God Bless America. Performing God Bless America today, representing the United States Air Force Academy Band, is Senior Airman Ben Sampson. Please welcome Senior Airman Sampson and join him by singing along to God Bless America.
Bats, they're down 5-2 as we go to the bottom of the. Patrick Corbin is now in the ball game for Arizona, and in right field, Kyle Jensen, who pinch ran for Yasmani Tomas, and the Rockies are going to counter. Tony Walters was supposed to lead off. Steven Cardulo is going to hit for him, and he takes strike one. Patrick Corbin, you're so used to him being a starting pitcher. The league was hitting close to 300 against him, and now he's in the bullpen. This is a guy that threw like an ace a couple years ago before surgery.
It's August 12th that the Diamondbacks took him out of the starting rotation after going an inning and 2/3, giving up the house.
1-2 on Cardulo. John Gray and Tony Walters trying to discuss what went wrong in that seventh. Rockies entered the seventh with a 2-1 lead. Gray had a 3-hitter at that point in time. That turned around quickly. 2-2, and this is popped up in the infield. Owings will take it, 1 out.
You always know it's September when you see the catcher getting pinch hit for. Cardullo's pinch hitting for Walters with Patrick Corbin, the lefty. And now for the pitcher spot with John Gray, Tom Murphy will come in and pinch hit. Most likely he'll go and catch.
You know, we've had this discussion off the air. What's your thought on how September baseball with the expanded rosters ought to be played?
My gut tells me it should just be a 30-man roster year-round.
That's not going to happen.
No.
There's the economics are not going to allow that to happen.
I'd like to see the rosters expand. It's 25 right now in the season to at least 28. I think with how specialized the game has got, I think when you look at Tommy John and the ability to maybe have more 6-man rotations, you save a lot more arms, you can keep better players on the field.
Okay, you're talking about the whole year. Just focus on September, though.
I'm getting to September.
Okay.
40-man roster comes around. I think you can bring as many as you want, but just relegate, just say, okay, these are the 28 people that are going to play in tonight's game.
Okay, I'm with you, because I understand your thought on the other 5 months, and I wouldn't disagree, but as Murphy fouls that off, you're talking about having to get ownership to buy into that, and that's a significant financial hit when you're carrying, you know, many more players at a much higher salary. So, you know, that would be a tidal wave type of change in Major League Baseball. But just looking at September, this ball's driven a long way to left. Stay fair for Murphy. Fair ball, home run. Boy, did he ever drop the barrel there. And the Rockies are within 2. Pinch hit home run for Murphy. First of the year, 4th of his career.
That ball is crushed by Tom Murphy. Had 19 home runs in AAA Albuquerque. Season turned around for him in about July when he started using a little bit less effort. Had a pinch hit single a couple days ago. Look at Corbin trying to get the ball inside to Tom, and Tom just drops the barrel. This is going to be a great view. This almost hits the camera. Up on the concourse. Nice videoing crash. Is he up there?
He was up there. The ball, as you said, almost crashed into Crash's camera.
You're the best, Crash. Does need a scarf.
Somebody called him Craig. He wouldn't even answer. That's inside. 1-1. Just to finish our little conversation. For September, I just don't like that baseball's played with one set of rules for 5 months, and then in arguably the most critical month of the year, you play with an entirely different set of rules. I mean, you could pinch hit in the 4th or 5th inning where you never would in the other 5 months. You could match up interminably, it seems. You can have 5, 6 left-handers down there, as opposed to, okay, you have 1 or 2, and you have to be judicious when you use them. So I'm with you, Spilly. That's fine. You expand the rosters. Give young players, as Tapia fouls that off, give young players an opportunity to get their feet wet at the big league level. But at 4 o'clock for a 6:40 game or a 7 o'clock game, you have to set your rosters at 27, 20, whatever the number is. But it's got to be, maybe it's even 25, so it's the same as.
It could go double header roster. You can have 26.
But it's got to be a reasonable facsimile of what baseball's doing the other 5 months. I mean, what other sport changes the rules dramatically in the final, 20% of the season? 2 outs. LeMahieu against Corbin. Strike on DJ, 1 for 3, an RBI single back in the 1st. on one hop to second. Rockies get a run back on the pinch hit home run by Tommy Murphy. It's 5-3 as we go to the 8th at Coors Field. Well, John Gray's final line, not great. 7 innings, 5 runs, 7 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. But he entered the 7th, having allowed 1 run on 3 hits. And then the 4 straight hits, the 3-run home run. And John Gray's line got altered considerably. What did you see today, Spilly, from him?
I like the fact that John Gray was pounding the strike zone. It was his best as far as first pitch strikes. 21 out of 27 first pitch strikes today, but then it became a little predictable in that inning where he gave up all the runs.
New battery, Carlos Estevez and Tommy Murphy. Top of the order, Gene Segura for Arizona. Segura is 2 for 2 and a walk. The only walk for John Gray was the first man he faced. That was Segura. He walked him on 4 pitches. Then Segura stole second and would score 2 hitters later on a Goldschmidt fly ball to left field.
Here's a number I just found, and you can take with it what you want. John Gray today threw 19 fastballs and 22 0-0 counts. 19 of the 22 first pitches he threw today was a fastball.
Well, you know what? For 21 hitters, it worked. 22nd was Brito. He hit the first pitch out. We're going to get Segura for the first time today. Cargo and right.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is now available. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in True HD on over 400 devices.
Chris Owings, after a 4-hit game last night, which tied his career best, is 1 for 3 today. And Estevez hits Owings.
The other night, Estevez threw a fastball, an errant fastball, just over the head of Ricky Weeks. He's not trying to throw at the batter. I think the command for Carlos has been off for the most part.
It is, but you know, Charlie got hit after that. The ball at Ricky Weeks' head. And any team that is affiliated with Tony La Russa, there will be at some point in time retribution. That's just how he's always operated. Goldschmidt at the plate, 0 for 2, and the sac fly in the first. So Paul Goldschmidt has reached in 50 straight. There's La Russa, Bob Gebhardt, and of course the current general manager Dave Stewart on the right. Had a great career on the hill. So Goldschmidt's reached in 50 straights. Dougie did a little homework. When was the last time Goldschmidt did not reach against the Rockies? Well, it was May 22nd, 2013. In a game started by Jorge De La Rosa. He went 5 1/3. Escalona went an inning and 2/3. He's pitching in Mexico now. Matt Belisle's pitching in Washington. He went an inning. Rex Brothers out of baseball right now. Rex went an inning. Rockies would win 4-1. Edgmer, Escalona.
I was wondering what happened to Escalona. Last I heard, he was with Baltimore, and that was years ago. Now he's in Mexico.
He got released early last year, and this year he's pitched, and some as a starter in the Mexican League. 3-1. Month left in the season. We've seen Estevez very good, and we've seen him struggle. One of the things that he will spend the winter focused on is repeating mechanics so he can have the kind of command that he needs to have to be consistent. Murphy's not going to have a play. Stuff-wise, it's filthy. I mean, he throws 100.
Sometimes, just like with hitters and any type of player on a baseball field, in any other sport, effort. Think about it in golf. If you start swinging too hard, you're trying to match up with your friends that are hitting the ball a long way, you can't hit the ball. Same at baseball. You start over swinging, you can't hit the ball. Same with pitching.
Swung on a miss, runner go, and Murphy double clutched, and no advancement on the stolen base by Owings. Is he waiting for coverage there, Spilly?
Looked like it. Estevez reaches back and blows it right past Paul Goldschmidt. And it's like a clean transfer for Tom. He's not waiting for anybody. He might have been blocked by Carlos and didn't see DJ was already standing there.
16th stolen base for Owings. He's been caught just one time. Jake Lamb singled and scored in the 7th. Rockies down 5-3. Rockies will go right on right with Kyle Jensen, who's on deck.
Chris Russin in the bullpen, and his role has changed a little bit in the last month. He's matching up a little bit more in the 7th and 8th inning. He was considered at first as a long inning type reliever, and I like him in this role because the cutter has been very effective for him.
Well, there's two reasons that he's moved up in the pecking order from a long reliever to a guy that's now pitching on the plus side. One, the makeup, the toughness, the competitiveness they love with Chris Russin. The stuff for a late inning guy is probably a little bit short, but it's been out of necessity because we all have witnessed what's happened with the bullpen. So Walt looking down there for candidates that can get outs in critical periods of a game and try to protect the lead. That's why Chris Russin now been inserted of late into close games late. First pitch misses to Jensen.
Jensen and Estevez may have faced each other in AAA this season.
One ball, one strike on Kyle Jensen. The day after every Rockies victory, get 50% off your online order at Papa John's. Use the promo code ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com. Crowd of 19 shy of 32,000 on this Sunday afternoon. Whoa, that hit him. And now the bases are loaded. And you got Drury coming up. He's hit 2 in the inning.
Second error in baseball to get away from Carlos. Jensen with the elbow pad. It's not the typical elbow guard you see with the armor on it. It's going to leave a mark.
I'm sure he's battling some confidence issues also right after the All-Star break, going on that roll where he was saving games on a regular basis. The Rockies won 10 out of 12, and then you have one rough outing, and then you have another one. All of a sudden it gets in your head, and now he's not nearly as consistent hitting the strike zone. That's a bad miss. 1-0. He went slider on the first pitch. Bases loaded. Brandon Drury at the plate. Rockies down 5-3. I mean, it's imperative that you somehow get this third out without anybody scoring.
I would say out of every single Rockies player this season, Carlos has had the biggest roller coaster, the biggest highs, the biggest lows.
On the corner at 100. That'll play again.
On the corner at 100 miles an hour. Yes, that'll play. The only thing that will make it not a great pitch is it needs to be lower.
He went out there, missed at 99. It's 2-2.
On that Subaru strike zone, you can see that third pitch is well located on the corner. But anytime you're in the middle, belt high, even with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, it's still easy for a hitter to put the barrel to the bat, to the ball.
And that's a base hit. Owens has scored. Jake Lamb, he's coming home. The throw's cut off. 2-run single, Brandon Drury. He has 3 RBIs in the last 2 innings, and the lead jumps to 7-3. And once again, the bullpen taking on water.
Slider up in the zone. Drury's able to put the bat on the ball. David Dahl trying to get this ball in on line with 2 outs. Jake Lamb, the athlete that he is, he had a good secondary. He was able to score pretty easily. Roller coaster continues for Carlos.
Your attention. Now pitching for the Rockies.
Rockies had a 2-1 lead, just a little more than an inning ago. And now they're in a rough spot. Chris Russin will take over. Here's this week's CenturyLink High-Speed Challenge poll question. Want to know who holds the Rockies' record for the most stolen bases in club history? Was it EY, Cargo, or Larry Walker? Go to @RootSports_RM to vote. So far, 89% think it was EY, which is a pretty safe bet. 5% Cargo and 6% Larry Walker. So Russin will face Socrates Brito, who put the Diamondbacks in front last inning with a 3-run home run against John Gray. Two on, 2 outs, and the cutter on the front door is a strike. 0-1. That was the lefty version of what Fogger used to do. Josh Fogg would throw that front door cutter.
It's a good pitch. Anytime he can locate something inside, get a hitter to move his feet, and that pitch moves back in towards the plate.
2 strikes, Russin ahead of Brito. Rockies have won 9 of 15 against Arizona this year. A year ago, they were dominated by the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks went 13-6 against Colorado. Just found out why Yasmani Tomas left the game, and he didn't hurt himself. This ball, I don't know how that was blocked by Murphy. He's got to eat it, but I don't know if that ball hit the dirt first or the grass. Did that even get to the dirt?
I think it hit the grass and the dirt. It hit right on the cutout. Slider right on the cutout. Good job by Tom Murphy using his body to stop that ball from kicking past. Jensen at second base with a good read.
Yasmani Tomas left because he didn't feel well. He was sick. So not an injury, an illness. Swung on and missed, so no harm done with the wild pitch. Russin strikes out Brito, but 2 more runs for Arizona. They've scored 6 of the 7 in the last 2 innings.
As he steps to the plate. Bobblehead day for Cargo, and it features the Venezuelan flag. So I'm thinking on Friday, hey, can I get a Venezuelan flag and get cargo out in the pregame? So I go to the custom flag company in Westminster, and they say they have one. And the lady says, well, you have big plans with the flag? And I said, actually, I do. And I tell her about it, and she says to me, oh, I've seen that bobblehead. That'll be cool. Well, Cargo came out today as he steps to the plate and had a little fun with the Venezuelan flag. So let's see if he can get things going here, guys. There he is. That was in the pregame.
Yeah, I liked it.
Pretty close.
You had the nice interview with him talking about all the stuff he does.
Yeah.
In Venezuela. What was he giving money to?
Well, it's tough times in Venezuela, and a lot of it is medical supplies that are needed desperately. The hospitals, they can't get anything in there.
2 balls and a strike on Cargo. Cargo 2 lineouts today and a fly ball to center field. He's been frustrated of late. Corbin produces a swing and a miss on a pitch off the plate. 2-2. Everything's been away. Rockies now down by 4. Driven foul.
Cargo is 2 for 17 on this homestand. And he has hit the ball hard. He would take a broken bat, anything for a hit, just to make his heart feel better.
3-2. Jake Barrett thrown in Arizona's bullpen. 3-2, and he covered that outside corner, maybe a little bit beyond.
I'd like to see the Rockies make a nice push here the last 2 innings. Giants losing in Chicago. Giants hit 100 in a 3-game series against the Cubs.
Ground ball to short.
All kids 12 and under can run the bases after the game on Sunday, September 18th. Get your tickets today for a game against the Padres.
Single and a triple today and 3 at bats for Arenado. Rockies been much better down in the desert against Arizona this year. They're 5-1 down at Chase Field. 4-5 here at Coors Field against the Diamondbacks. It's kind of been an ongoing story all year for the Rockies. There's been a lot of time discussing the fact that they've not been dominant at home. Coming into today, the Rockies 35-33 at home. And on one hand, you say they've improved a lot on the road. That's the good news. They've been a poor 1-run team this year. And going forward, they've got to get back to where they're winning close to 50 games or more at Coors Field. I think some of that has to be, we used to talk so much about Loto Magic. I mean, you were a big part of that on many occasions. Spilly, where the Rockies would erase 2-3-run deficits in the 8th or even 9th inning. And that has rarely happened this year. Corbin strikes out Nolan. 2 outs in the 8th inning. Is some of it tied? Not only it's a team game, you want to pour everything on one element of the franchise, but the bullpen has been in such a bad place. They've allowed runs in 25 of their last 28. You think offensively, where they feel like, well, you know, whatever we do, late in the ball game, there's a good chance that he gets undone.
Yes and no. I mean, as a hitting group, you have to, if you lose the lead, you still have to find a way to come right back. But it is frustrating for a group to lose. There's nothing worse in baseball than losing games late. And the Rockies 9-17 this season in one-run games, but you look at it, the numbers that I found with the bullpen and the blown saves. Amount of blown saves that lead to losses, 16 that leads to Major League Baseball. Most losses via blown save were leading after the 8th inning. The Rockies had 7, that's the most in baseball. And I think that flips around some of the numbers that we have.
Dahl strikes out, and the Rockies are done in the bottom of the 8th. 7-3 Arizona as we go to the 9th.
Afternoon, down 7-3 to the Diamondbacks as we head to the top of the 9th. Jenny Cavnar with you, getting ready for the Toyota postgame show. Jon Gray was cruising in this one until the 7th. Coming up after the game, we'll let you know what went wrong and what the Rockies need to fix before the Giants come to town for 3 starting tomorrow. For now, we'll send it back to Drew and Spilly to finish this one off.
All right, Jenny, thank you. In the top of the 9th inning, Justin Miller will take the baseball. Justin spent a good deal of time on the disabled list, and he was rehabbing down in Albuquerque, activated a couple of days ago. Tuffy Gozwich will be the first up in the 9th inning for Arizona. As Jenny said, the Rockies were in a solid place. You wish they had, the larger lead, but they're up 2-1. Well-pitched game. Archie Bradley, Jon Gray, and then the 7th inning happened. 1 out. Single, 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 3-run home run. 5-2 after 7. Jon Gray finished the 7th inning. And then in the 8th, 2 more runs off Carlos Estevez for Arizona. Tapia makes the catch on 1 pitch. Gozwich is gone. And Patrick Corbin
is going to hit.
Going to hit for himself. So have an opportunity to get a save in this ball game, because if you go 3 innings, no matter what the score is, you can get a save. At the knees at 92 for a strike.
Now the shadows are in play, but in about 10 minutes, once the shadow gets a little bit farther over the mound, it will no longer be in play. Be easier to see.
How many times in your career, Spilly, where you stand at the plate and you couldn't see the seams at all?
A lot. At night, it's easier to see the seams, surprisingly. See it pretty good in under the lights. On days like today, if it's bright, a little bit more difficult.
much of a difference was there going from the various levels of minor league baseball and the lighting to the big leagues?
It wasn't even the lighting, it was the batter's eyes. Remember Sacramento, it's AAA for Oakland. Oakland had this utility tent out left field, out center field, and pitchers learned how to change their arm angle to throw out of this white tent.
That couldn't have been fun.
No.
2 outs, and that'll bring up Segura. 2 for 3 and a walk. Guy with the most hits in the National League, Jean Segura. Who Wants Tacos? Fans follow @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies Taco Special when the Rockies score 7 runs or more in a ball game. And Segura gets knocked down. And there's Tony La Russa, and that is, he's now out of his chair, just flipped the glasses off. And these are pitches, honestly, that have gotten away, but in Tony's mind, it doesn't matter. No intent. Carlos Estevez battled a lot of his outings command issues. Segura chops that one foul. And Segura right back through the originator with a base hit, his 3rd hit of the ball game.
Number 16, Chris Owings.
That is the 170th hit for Jean Segura this year.
Now it adds to his National League leading 3-hit games. He has 19 of those.
Hit 320.
19 3-hit games.
That's a bunch. Chris Owings 1 for 3. He was hit by a pitch in the 8th and scored. There goes Segura, and again Murphy has trouble getting the ball out of his glove. Segura with his 2nd stolen base of the day, and that's his 30th of the year. It's a big number.
Segura's played at Coors Field long enough to know that these runs are important. You can tack on an extra run. Now you take the grand slam out of play, get that 5-run lead. Murphy having trouble just finding the ball in his glove, having to double clutch again.
And that's a wild pitch. Segura will go to 3rd. Ball and 2 strikes on Owings. John Gray gave up a run in the first and then threw up a bunch of zeros to the 7th inning. This game's changed in feel and complexion dramatically the last couple of innings. This ball's pulled to left. This is going to drive in another run. What are you doing? Segura scores on the Owings double, and it's 8-3. And this ball game's gotten away from the Rockies completely.
Justin Miller trying to get the slider, his best secondary pitch, and you can see it's flat right out over the plate. Just did Chris Owings a favor where the location was up in the zone. You just have to put the barrel on it. Basically just threw himself a double.
Goldschmidt at the plate. Corbin hit for himself. But interestingly, it's Daniel Hudson now up. And up by 5 runs. You wouldn't get Hudson up if you weren't going to put him in the ball game, you would think. There's a strike.
All this damage with 2 outs.
Goldschmidt's streak is on the line of reaching at 50 straight against the Rockies. Just thought of that. 0 for 3 and a sac fly. He broke on Friday the mark he shared with Mike Piazza for reaching against the Rockies. What was the old-time one was Ted Williams against the Philadelphia Athletics. 89 games in a row. Ted Williams reached against the Philadelphia A's. Go to the park against the A's. Old Ted said, I know I'll be on a couple times.
Might as well just walk to the base.
2-2. Three and 2. Miller worked last night. Had a solid inning. Now he's 28 pitches into this frame. And with 2 outs, he's given up a run, a single, and a double. Parra is going to give it a look, and he doesn't have long enough arms.
Parra presses himself up against the sidewall.
Three, 2. Paul Goldschmidt out of the Woodlands, suburb that's grown in leaps and bounds the last 20 years down in Houston. Went to Texas State, San Marcos. Strike three, locked him up. In the inning, another run for Arizona. They lead 8-3. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. And by StubHub. Looking for great seats, head to StubHub, the official ticket marketplace of the Colorado Rockies. Beautiful look at one of the great musical venues in the world, Red Rocks. Patrick Corbin in the 9th inning, and the Rockies put up a pinch hitter. It's Christian Adames, and he promptly lines one to the gap in left center field. Adames in a second with a leadoff double. He's hitting for Parra. A.J. Pollock's in the ballgame in center field now. Brito moves over to right.
Rockies in the pinch hitting the last couple of days have been on point. Adames first pitch swinging off Patrick Corbin with the big lead. As any good pinch hitter goes, first pitch you see that you can handle, you swing. The Rockies down 5. Chip Hale's going to make a move for Daniel Hudson.
Corbin gone after 2+. 8-3 Arizona. Daniel Hudson coming in. current Baltimore pitching coach Dave Wallace about their baseball connection. And we'll hear from Stephen Cardullo's former Albuquerque teammates to talk about his unique journey to the major leagues. Plus, we could recap the month of August in our top 5 countdown. That's the club today after the post-game show. Nick Hundley's going to pinch hit for Daniel Descalso. He was announced, and then the pitching change came. So Daniel Hudson, who finished up the game last night, pitched the ninth. A lot of walk, no hits, no runs, struck out 2. Adames pinch hit double to lead off the inning with the Rockies down by 5. 7 of the 8 runs for Arizona have come in the last 3 innings. One and 0 on Nick Hundley. With the fastball, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
If the Rockies can't find a way to come back and win this game, it'll be a very disappointing series for them. Coming off a nice series against the Dodgers. Heartbreaking loss for them.
You know what? The series against the Dodgers was good if you just look back and say, hey, he took 2 of 3 from the team leading the division. But when you blow a 6-run 8th inning lead and a chance to sweep the Dodgers, you say, you know what? Not nearly what it should have been. And then you're right. If they don't pull off a miracle here in the 9th, it will be a disappointing weekend. And it started out so well with the emphatic late rally, 8th inning rally that produced 7 runs with 2 outs on Friday. You're up big 14-7, closed that one out. Lose 9-4 yesterday, and then he had a 2-1 lead here in the 7th. It's gotten away from the Rockies. 2-2 on Hundley. Rayburn is on deck. Pitcher spot is up next in the 8th spot. Moving to third on the wild pitch is Adames.
A lot of spiked pitches today. That's a changeup. Gets away from Tuffy. Shadows, you can see it's pretty difficult even to pick up the baseball from that camera angle.
Three and 2 on Nick. Fouls that off. Another 3-2. And a base hit. And the Rockies get a run. It's 8-4. Nick Hundley off the bench into the book.
Three pinch hits now for the Rockies in today's game. Tom Murphy hit the home run. Adames with the double lead off the inning, and now Nick Hundley pulling his hands in, and we know he's in a good spot. He's been mentioning about how he's been able to throw his ace swing more often. That is a nice, calm approach. Pulls his hands in. He looks quiet at the plate. Has a good foundation under him. His feet are quiet. Hundley's in a good spot.
Ryan Rayburn. Chance to continue the success of the Rockies pinch hitters this afternoon. Hey, by the way, Spilly, remember we were talking about the 10-game run of 10 or more hits at Coors Field by Arizona, and it didn't seem likely to continue because they entered the 7th inning with 3 hits against John Gray. They have 10 hits now. 11 straight games against the Rockies at Coors Field that the Diamondbacks have produced double-figure hits. Oh, 0-2 on Rayburn.
Today's game featured no hits from Paul Goldschmidt and A.J. Pollock, not even in the lineup. He is now in center field roaming as a defensive replacement. We knew coming into this series looking at the Diamondbacks, even though we knew they were well under 20 games under 500, that this lineup was a little bit different.
Rayburn gone, 1 out, and that'll bring up Murphy. Murphy, a pinch single to the 7th, stayed in the ball game behind the plate. It's a pinch single, excuse me, hit a pinch hit home run, and then stayed in the ball game behind the plate. Murphy did have a pinch single to drive in a run earlier in the series. That was on Friday. This was a bomb. Oh, 2. That's a base hit off the end of the bat. And now you're one guy from reaching, from getting the tying run to the plate.
That's why that run last inning was so important for the Diamondbacks. It takes away the old grand slam, tie it up.
And the top of the order coming up, Raimel Tapia. Little slider and a good piece of hitting by Tom Murphy.
After hitting a bomb earlier on a fastball down and in, the Diamondbacks trying to get a slider away from him, and Murphy's able to cover that.
Double single, strikeout, and a base hit by Murphy. A run in, 2 on. Tapia is 2 for 4. Heater for a strike on the outer edge, 0-1. Raimel had a pinch hit, base hit Friday night. His first major league at bat. Started for Charlie Blackmon yesterday when Charlie was a late scratch with some back tightness. Threw out 2 hits. And if this drops, it will. He's got 3 and the bases are loaded. Tying run to the plate in DJ LeMahieu. Daniel Hudson looking around saying, beam me up, Scotty.
Well, the Rockies are putting a push right now. Change up away from Tapia, and you can see the plate coverage right off the end of the bat. A.J. Pollock in center field. The Gold Glover's not able to catch it. business.
1 out, bases full of Rockies. LeMahieu, an RBI single in the first, 1 for 4. The leading hitter in the National League, with Carlos Gonzalez on deck.
Cargo on his bobblehead.
Jake Barrett, who was up an inning ago, is back up in the bullpen for Arizona. And we've talked quite a bit lately about the struggles of the Rockies bullpen. Diamondback fans looking in down in the Phoenix area and beyond are saying we've seen this before also. Their bullpen has had many issues this season. Here's the 1-0. Diamondbacks with the worst ERA in the National League. Then Cincinnati and then the Rockies. This gets away, and dashing home is Hundley. It's a 3-run game. That's enormous, because no longer is the double play, at least a conventional one, a possibility.
Now you're pretty much guaranteed Cargo will get a shot. Another pitch spiked by Daniel Hudson, and Tuffy just pretty much whiffs. Kicks past him. Hundley anticipating. That's always a tough read when you're at third base, making sure the ball gets kicked far enough away that you're able to score. That run means nothing at that point of the game.
2-2. 8-5. 1 out. One of the best two-strike hitters in the game. At the plate with a 2-2 count. Looking around the crowd, usually when it's relatively close, you'll see the rally hats. Down by 5, you didn't even see folks going to the effort. But now, maybe it changes a little bit. There's a rally hat, young lady. DJ strikes out, 2 gone. And Cargo coming up. And he represents the equalizer. Well, on a day where he's been frustrated by lining out twice, where we've celebrated Cargo with a bobblehead, would it not be fitting to hit one in the seats?
You know, if you hit it in the seats, they can't catch it. Can't make a hard out. And we've heard Cargo say that in the past. Tired of them catching the baseball and catching up there.
Gentleman's waving the bobblehead. Cargo is 0 for 4. 2 on, 2 outs. Rockies deficient by 3 on the scoreboard in the bottom of the 9th. Murphy at third, Toppy is at second. Corbin started the 9th. Now Daniel Hudson, 22 pitches into his stint. Throwing the fastball on the first 2 offerings. 1-1.
Cargo looking to do some damage. Changeup down the zone. Well-located pitch by Hudson. Last at bat for Cargo is a hard ground out to Jake Lamb, who's playing shortstop. Now the entire left side of the infield is vacated. That spot is wide open for Cargo.
And again, he gets a changeup.
Good pitch. Back-to-back, well-located changeups, and it sets up for Daniel Hudson to throw the fastball up in the zone. We're trying to get Cargo to chase with another changeup down and away.
1-2. They got him with another changeup. That'll end the ball game. The Rockies rally comes up short. 8-5 the final. Arizona wins the ball game, and they also win the series 2-1. In the battle of Oklahoma natives, Archie Bradley gets the victory. He's 6-8. John Gray, in his pursuit of his 10th victory, comes up short with a rough 7th inning. John falls to 9-7. All right, Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Socrates Brito. First pitch in the 7th inning with 2 aboard. He hit 452 feet. It was a 2-2 ball game, and it became a 5-2 game very quickly. That's our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Once again, the final score, 8-5. Arizona has defeated the Rockies. The Rockies now 6 games beneath 500 at 65-71. The Toyota postgame show is